What's up, gamers? It's your boy Chris here, coming at you a couple days after the Alamo GT. So I've had time to. I was dead coming back, and I took yesterday off, and I needed to rest because been working long hours and leading up to this and getting stuff taken care of so that I could go to Alamo, and it just caught up to me. So I took yesterday off, and so I am recording this 2 days after the fact. So I'm back from the Alamo GT. I did not go 0-4, so yay, right? And I got to play some people who had been looking forward to play. I got to play Alexander's Crew. I missed James. James had a slightly better win record than I did, and so but that would have been probably a bad loss there too. I took the Deathwatch, and they were fun, and they don't feel unwinnable, but it feels like I gotta work twice as hard to get what Angels of Death, Nemclaw, and Murder Wing, Wolf Scouts, all the 6-man elite teams do, right? I've got to do a lot of pre-thinking, pre-planning in order to win. A lot of people do say that Deathwatch is a shooting team, right? That's what they're better at shooting, and there is some truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that the best teams in the game or some of the best teams are good teams that have very good close range shooting, and can survive being charged in melee, right? Because shooting has no risk to the model, whereas charging and fighting melee combat has a lot of risk to the model. If you shoot and you whiff, you don't get hurt unless, of course, you're rolling hot rolls. But that's where things are okay. You don't get hurt, right? If you charge somebody and you whiff, you could just die, right? And that's where things get a little interesting, and so that's why shooting is stronger in Kill Team than melee. Now, if you have more models, melee is a lot stronger. So that's why Goremongers and Felgor are a menace. Same with Blades of Cain, right? Blades of Cain is another one of those teams where, yeah, they're a shooting team, right? They're a shooting team first, and then they are that punishes people for charging them in melee. Hyrotech, when they first came out, when they had that if you charge, you take damage thing, that was another kind of example of this, right? Like, that's where all these strong teams are, where if you go into melee with them, even to a lesser extent Canoptic, right? Where they're just shooting you, and you just and then if you charge them, because they're within 2 inches of you, that's where it hurts, right? And so that's why Deathwatch is, largely considered a shooting team, with things like Shielded Slays that can reduce the damage, with the Parry First operative who has a P1 pistol, right? That being said, I like melee. There's just something fun about it. So I tend to run a melee skew a lot of times. That is not the best. I recognize this. But and you still have to do the whole, what does a Blade Master do? He shoots you twice with a pistol, right? And there's a way to do that. There's the right way to do that. That's the way this goes. And so that's kind of what I figured out with Deathwatch, though, is that I think I can make them work in melee. They do need something slightly, like if they got a buff for retaliation, I think that would be a lot better, a lot more survivable, I should say, right? And they are doing, you need to do the obstacle course. It's funny to say that as a melee team, as somebody who wants to run a melee team, I'm like, oh man, I've got to create the rattling obstacle course. Now, not a full rattling obstacle course, right? Not a full stealth suit, putting down razor wire, trip mines, everything. But you want to, if you're taking the sergeant, you're wanting to take those barricades. You're wanting to take something to force the engagement where you need to. Now, it does nothing to murder wing, so there's that. But into most other teams, you can use it to create yourself staging grounds, all sorts of other things, and that's what I kind of figured out, that a couple of my losses were because I didn't stage correctly. Well, my loss into Alexander's Crute was because I just should have put some staging things and not let him. And also the other important thing is I shouldn't have let him control the entire battlefield, which is what he did with his obstacle course, right? Because he doesn't mind. I do mind, although I do have the head taker who can do some things, right? Who's got the 7-inch move and does that. So, and it was all on Tomb World too, so that's a different kind of thing. The other thing is that I've got to be better about playing in person, checking those sight lines, because that's where the high level kill team is just seeing, do I get this much of an angle on you, do I get that much of an angle on you, kind of thing, right? And that's where those you get those shots there. And that's that's the way it goes. So my last two games were into Alexander's Crute and Daryl's Angels of Death. I lost both of them, but they were very tight losses. It was like a 12-17, and the 17 was because of the +2 for kill op. If he hadn't killed that one, my Aegis with like 3 rounds of lethal 5 shooting, it would have been down to down to a 13-15 loss, which is a very respectable loss, and it was on stake claim, which is not a mission that Deathwatch can do. Deathwatch cannot stake claims. They just they lose to that one, and that's where my sight line was especially egregious. He shot me with a sniper, and that shouldn't have happened. Taking those devastating wounds, but he had him staged in a corner and just had a little sliver of line on a door, and I just couldn't I couldn't do it on that one. So I did go dominate into them, and I got 5. I would have gotten 6 if my Aegis had been alive. So is what it is. There were some shooting opportunities I should have taken, and I should have staged up differently. That's one where I should have put a barricade or something so that I could have cleared a path to his home point, because I had the access to it. And then if I would have done it, I was just too afraid of his Seek Light ability but I forgot that it's a situational seek light, not a complete seek light. There's a mindset change as you get into. There's a big difference in the in Angel of Death versus Deathwatch, and it's because of the disruptor. The disruptor ensures that you can stop their alpha a lot of times, unless of course they got like a 3 APL. It stops the it stops a lot of the alpha strikes. Those first, or not the alpha, but the first turn explosive activations, right? And you just got to follow and track where that guy is or where you don't want him to be, right? And a 3 APL Melta is still probably going to be able to avoid him. But you can set it up to where you just ignore the Melta, right? You just run away from the Melta, or something along those lines, right? Or you accept that the Melta is going to get the one shot off, and then he's going to get disrupted to hell and taken out. And those are the two things you got to do, right? Versus with Angels of Death, you only can accept that, they're gonna move them up last turn and first turn blow you off, or with the sniper or whatever kind of other operative, they are going to set up, and if they win the initiative, there's nothing you can do about it, right? But you have that extra guy to be like, all right, well, he's going to be there, and you take him, and then I have to punish that, right? Which is what, but with Deathwatch, you can avoid losing that first one if you can set it up correctly. And that's a big key to things. And you have to do the obstacle courses and shrink the board down, right? And just make sure that they don't get to your side, or you have a pathway to theirs to at least do the thing once, right? With Stake Claim, you just need to run to their objective one time, right? Fight them over it. Do something to force them to commit operatives over there, or something along those lines, right? And if you can do that in a way that keeps you semi-safe or semi-able to, fall back, that's how that works. My game into Angel of Death was a winnable game if I had thought about the TAC op selection a little more, because he did a plant banner play using a teleporter. And again, I don't have enough guys to cancel that, but as soon as I saw that, I should have run to his teleporter and just teleported into the room. I should have staged up a little safer. This one was on loot, and I really didn't need anybody to be... I had 2 guys near the loot point. I just needed 1 because of the free mission actions, and I was getting the counteracts. So, yeah, it is what it is. My dice, or his dice were hot when he needed them, and my dice were not. He got a full, 4 hits with the heavy bolter into my Blade Master, and I did save. I think I got a crit and a normal, and so I knocked it down from, I think I was alive on 3, so yeah, he must have gotten all hits through. I took 12, and then he just shot me with a bolt pistol and got 4. And so, it happens. It does, that kind of stuff happens. And he got the initiative on that turn. If either of those 2 things had not gone that way, I probably could have done some more survivability. Yeah, as far as the buffs they need, the shield that slays on the center point is definitely a buff that they should get back, just for that little touch of survivability on the center line, rather, and something for retaliation. I mean, let mission tactics work. Give it ceaseless. Let mission tactics work on retaliation. I think we'd be fine. We probably always play it on engage, but you know, it is what it is. And that's actually probably a good idea, right? Just that little thing. But yeah, anyways, talk to you next time, guys. Hasta la pasta.